It's now time for Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, live on the Woodward Sports Network. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m. Starring Ryan Ermanni, Michigan great and former NFL baller Braylon Edwards, and of course, Tom Mazaway. Let's talk some sports.
Hey, let's go Monday show, February 5th, 2024. Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, Woodward Sports Network, WoodwardSports.com, Fox2Detroit.com, and the Fox Local app if you are watching live. If you're watching on YouTube, hello everybody, part of the 62,000 subscribers on this platform. Tell a friend about Woodward Sports, hit subscribe, and also hit that like button. Braylon Edwards, good afternoon to you, my friend.
Good afternoon. Always good seeing you, Ryan Ermanni. Wish the big guy was with us, but he will not be with us today. Talking about Tom Mazaway.
Oh, you even got him a water, though.
I got him a water, man. So you see, you still got the water with the lemon. It is in the cup and it is on the table.
It'll be there for him tomorrow.
We'll leave it there. It'll be nice and warm for him.
Can I just say, Maz out today.
Maz out today.
Got a colonoscopy earlier today. And just a reminder to all the men out there, get yourselves checked out. If you are of age, get your colonoscopies. So much can be prevented just by knowing.
What is age, Ryan? Like what?
Think 45 if you have a prior history.
Okay.
And then 50 for a lot of men out there traditionally, but they are bringing that age closer to 45.
I'll be 41 in a couple weeks.
I just turned 45. I'll be getting my first colonoscopy this year.
Ryan, is it weird this past weekend? It was the first weekend without football, some sort of football, since August. Last weekend in August, it was weird. It was hazy. I didn't know what to do myself. I don't know about you. I immersed myself into Yellowstone. Why didn't anybody tell me how good the show was?
Oh, Bray, it's one of the best of all time.
Like, this is an epic show. I just finished season 2. On to season 3. I think I just finished episode 3. Episode 1, me and my girl. It's dynamic. It's powerful. It takes you on these twists and these loops. It's like a country version.
Who's your favorite character, Beth?
Beth is the Beth and Rip.
Right, Rip.
Rip's the killer.
Fantastic.
Like, Rip's the best. He doesn't say much. He just takes care of business. I love Casey too. I mean, he's emotional, but he's like a wild killer.
Oh man, it's so good.
I don't want to say too much.
Speaking of wild killer, we got JB in the house.
Man,
we got Kenny in the house here today. Kenny, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, man. It's my second one. The first one was a little tricky, but we got through.
Oh man, you got through it, and you even got invited back.
I did, right? It's crazy. I made it to the big time. I made it.
It's the big time, man. Let's have some fun out here. Let's do it, man.
That's right.
What about you, man? There's no Lions. There's no Michigan. There's nothing to talk about. What was your weekend like?
So I had an incredible weekend.
Okay.
And I could talk about this for a long time, so you're going to have to tell me to shut up.
Don't worry.
I went to Soaring Eagle Casino with my wife. I'd never been there. And we saw Teresa Caputo, the Long Island medium. She had the show on TLC.
She talks to...
From 2011 to 2019. She talks to dead people.
Okay.
And now she has a new show on Lifetime. It's called Teresa Caputo Raising Spirits. Now, there were 3,300 people in the audience. Okay. It was a sold-out show. And what she does is... she starts up on stage, and first 5, she says, look, I don't care if you believe me or not. I have this ability to communicate with the dead. If I were you, I wouldn't believe me either. Like, I understand.
Reverse psychology. I got you.
It's like a total, like, I don't care if you believe me. This is what's going on. So she leaves the stage, and she just walks out into the crowd. And she, as she says, the spirits pull her in the different directions to talk to so-and-so.
I got questions.
And I got some answers.
Okay.
And
I'm like, all right.
There were, she provided so much comfort to a lot of people who they have pain. They deal with, in sorrow and regret, loved ones who were murdered, loved ones who died in a car accident. Right. Family members who, had to make a decision on a family member whether you pull the plug or not. You're dealing around with that grief.
That's tough.
How to do the burial. Do you cremate or do you put them in the ground? All these specific very specific things for people. It was very powerful. Very powerful.
I remember when this became a big deal, maybe around the time she started, 2011, 2012. Even South Park did a satire episode on this. One of the big things with this, Ryan, I've never been. I don't know, so I'm asking you. Like, aren't these people trained to ask certain questions that are general enough but have some level of specifics in them, and then somebody who wants disclosure, somebody who comes there and they want to talk, they want this to be them, they want this to be the spirit of the story that they close, and they jump up and say, yes, that blah. Is it kind of like that, or was it deeper than that?
It was deeper than that, I believe.
Okay.
And I know there's a lot of people out there, and I said this earlier today on Fox 2.
This is just questions about
Yeah. No, I said this earlier today on Fox 2. Whether you believe in this stuff or not, these people over here, let's just say these people over here who deal with immeasurable grief, if this person can provide a little bit of comfort to that person, what do you care? Why are you so quick to jump down this person's throat and say, if you don't believe, don't believe?
I think people don't like.
But for these people over here that walked out of that place, it was really, really comforting, I think.
I think the line is very interesting when you're talking about things like this, because it is interesting, because she's providing a level of comfort, a level of closure, so that you can move on with your life. Some people probably a lot older, some people younger. But I think the issue that you fret the line on is, are you being taken advantage of or not? Right. And I think that's when people get mad. But to your point, it is not your decision. It's not.
Right.
It's not your business.
Right.
Whether she's taking advantage or not. If this is what I choose to do with my hard-earned money, this is what I choose to do with my hard-earned money, and this is what I'm going to take out of it. So I like that.
Now, some of the specifics that she got, in front of people, like, so again, she gets out and she walks the crowd and she says, "I'm supposed to talk to you. Did you lose somebody in a car accident that was decapitated?"
Right.
You're like, there's 3,300 people here. How the hell did you know that? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like,
that's very specific.
And so, and then I hear this.
The plant.
Well, the plants. Okay?
Exactly right.
This lady's been doing this tour for 15 years?
Yeah.
Okay, so 15 years. There were about 20 people that she talked to or whatever so 20 people. Maybe 20 weeks she goes out there, 20 weeks, 20 people, 400 people a year for 15 years. Where's the one person that ever said I was the plant in the audience?
That's true.
Has one person ever come out and said I was the plant in the audience? You can't have 100% lips sealed on anything. Everything is exposed.
It's like the moon landing.
Right.
Like,
so,
all those people couldn't cover it up.
So until you tell me the one person that says, oh, yeah, I was the plant in that audience.
It's Ryan Ermanni.
Right. I'll go on saying, you know, that this was real.
No, it sounds like it seems like a very in-depth, it sounds like a fun experience, and it seemed like you did get a level of spirituality while you were there. So I would be interested if anybody in the chat has been in one of these, comment, say how it went, whatever, comment, let us know. But I would be interested to go to one. And I wouldn't be coming from a skeptical side. I would just be coming kind of watching people's reactions and watching the whole engagement, if you will, the interaction, as opposed to trying to go up there, do I see this? Do it look like they know each other? I think you did it the right way.
Like, for instance, one of the lady's decisions was, so this woman buried her mom, and the mom told her never to cremate me. I'm scared of fire. I don't want to be cremated. Well, the daughter wasn't around in the 2 weeks leading up to the death.
Right.
But apparently in that 2-week period, the mother told 2 other family members, I want to be cremated. I don't want to go in the ground. So they ended up cremating her and doing that. And this woman was walking around with this burden of, should I have, funeral or whatever.
Cremation.
And the spirit, through Teresa Caputo, says, you made the right decision. Once that spirit dies, once the person dies and that spirit leaves the body, what happens to the body is totally for the living. It's not for the dead anymore because they have no affiliation to that body anymore. They're completely gone from that body. It was really powerful stuff, man.
Wow.
So in other words, it doesn't matter what you do, cremated or burial, that is for the people that are living to remember you however they want.
Are you a cremation guy? Or are you when you want to funeral?
I don't know. I got a lot of living to do.
Yeah.
But I do think it's worth talking about. Now, one of the things she says is, she's Catholic, and this talking to spirits and stuff isn't part of the Catholic Church. But she says, even though they disagree with me on this, they still take my money.
keep tithing.
Right.
But I mean,
Right.
I guess I was going to say they do believe in exorcism as well, but I guess that's different. That's an extreme version. You got to get the Catholic Church to rule on and blah blah blah. But yeah, they've been dealing for a very long time.
So bottom line, between Yellowstone and between talking to the dead, we had a very interesting weekend here on the program.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Detroit Lions allowed us to still watch football for another 2 weeks after the season's over, so I'm definitely not upset with them. But it definitely does bode. You got to start finding things to do come Thursday, Friday, because Saturday, Sunday, they were very iffy places.
No doubt about it. Guys, big sports week.
Watch
to talk.
Yellowstone.
It is Super Bowl week. There's a level of depression that comes from that. Yesterday, for me, there was a time where I kind of looked around because I would have been on a flight to Vegas yesterday if the Lions held on to that 24-7 lead at halftime, but they couldn't do it. So
I see that that hurt is still there.
Yeah, I'm kind of sitting around my house like, oh my gosh, I should be going to Vegas right now. But nonetheless, they are not.
Save some money by not going.
Absolutely, no doubt. A couple of interesting points. First and foremost, I want to talk about it. Brad Holmes spoke to the media today. We have several cuts from that session. So interesting as well. We will talk about all of those. But I want to first talk about this situation with Ben Johnson.
Okay.
Story in The Athletic today that we're going to talk about, that he is ruining his reputation by some of the things that have gone on. And the question that I have for you, Braylon Edwards, is this on Ben Johnson or is this on the Washington Commanders who kind of botched this whole thing as well? We'll talk about that next. I'll lead you down that road. But first, a message from us here at WSN. We're talking merchandise. How would you like to wear some new Detroit sports wearables? That's right. We've got hats, hoodies, sweatshirts, everything in between. All you have to do is go to woodwardsports.com, click on that shop tab. Comfortable, affordable, new Detroit sports wearables. Check it out, woodwardsports.com, click shop.
At Planet Fitness, you can get energy without the judgment.
Hi, can you help me with this?
You don't know how to use it?
This is better.
Join now through January 19th for just 24 cents down, $10 a month. Never intimidating, always free fitness training and equipment for every workout. Join today during the Big Fitness Energy Sale for 24 cents down, $10 a month, cancel anytime. Deal extended through January 19th.
Over 50 Metro Detroit locations.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper. Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. That's right, college basketball's most elite event. You and your 5 best friends just get to any Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically register to win the trip of your dreams. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Thank you to all the fans for making Woodward Sports your #1 online destination for Detroit sports. We promise not to drop the ball.
Welcome back, Woodward Sports Network. Ryan Amani, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazaway out today. He'll be back tomorrow. JB and Kenny in with us. Bray, I want to get to this Brad Holmes in just a little bit. We have so many cuts to play for you, and we'll talk about all of them. He was very direct, very measured in what he was saying, and his plan will be in the offseason. He looks back, he looks ahead. But I do want to talk about Ben Johnson. Story came out in The Athletic today that league sources shared one unified segment that the Commanders got screwed. Outrageous, simply outrageous. That's not how you conduct business. It's how you ruin your reputation. That's what a league source told The Athletic regarding Ben Johnson's late exit from the Commanders' head coaching search. Ben Johnson's agent shared his plans to stay in Detroit by texting Washington officials while the Commanders group was in the air. So one of the things about this is I feel like, and maybe we're skewed here in Detroit, but a big part of this is how Washington is handling this. There was the leak that Ben Johnson was not good at interviewing. He had a bad interview. If that's the case, why were they in the air coming to Detroit to interview him for a second time? They wanted him. I feel like so many in the Washington organization, even though they have new ownership, are reverting back to old techniques by smearing everybody and trying to smear Ben Johnson when they kind of botched this as well. Hell, Mike McDonald didn't want anything to do with them either. It was Ben Johnson, according to the report, Ben Johnson and Mike McDonald were the two final head coaching candidates. Ben Johnson bows out. Mike McDonald chooses Seattle. And then they have to go with Dan Quinn, a safe choice.
Yeah, definitely a safe choice by them. Just thinking about how this thing played out, Ryan, you say, well, he had a bad interview. If he had a bad interview, then why would they be on the plane? A lot of guys that get these head coaching jobs, their first interviews aren't the best. I mean, you've seen it time and time again. You have to, and in any job in life, your first interview may not be the best, but if somebody really wants you, somebody really sees something in you, then they're willing to take that second interview. So that could be, the easy answer for that. But I think you're right about the smearing and things, if you will. Look, Ben Johnson was the choice that they wanted. Let's start there. He's the choice that they wanted. He's the new up-and-coming offensive mind. He's the guru mind right now. You saw what the Lions' offense was this year. Everybody that wins, they want that offensive mind. They want the Kyle Shanahan. They want their Kyle Stefanski or Kevin Stefanski. They want guys like that. Ben Johnson was that guy for them. They thought they had Ben in the bag. You're talking about a franchise that's the number 2 value franchise in the NFL. Like the number 2 value franchise in the NFL with all the rings at the Patriots, with the 49ers love, the Steelers, the Redskins, now the Commanders are the number 2 franchise, I do believe.
Only behind the Cowboys,
exactly,
right?
Number 2 franchise in all the NFL. So this is a major job. So when you're bringing that type of bravado, when you're bringing that type to an individual, you would expect that individual would just take the job. Like, do you know who we are? Take this job. He chooses not to take the job. And not only did they not call him to say, hey, this has been Johnson, I won't make the call. I mean, I'm thinking about, I'm going to stay with the Detroit Lions. They sent a text message. Now, you shot a text message in there on something that, with $1 billion industry, because that's how much the Commanders worth. They're worth just over $5 billion. They sold for $6 billion. Like, this is what you do? You send a text message? Yeah, they're pissed, right? I'd be pissed too. It's like breaking up with your girlfriend through text message as opposed to calling, hey, this is what's going on. You shot a text. Like, we're grown men. I think the Commanders deserve more than a text, if I'm being honest, but they don't have to resort to old Commanders things or personality traits.
Here's one of the quotes in the article from an NFL executive. I like Ben. A year ago, he knew he wasn't ready. One high-ranking executive with another team texted. I get a feeling he still thinks he needs time. Who knows? But to break the decision while they were in the air is a poor choice. And again, kind of like you said, if that was the case where they found out by text message, poor choice. But maybe Ben Johnson feels like he needs another year as well.
And that's fine, Ryan Ermanni. And that's what that actually was was what my thoughts was. I think, going through everything that Dan Campbell kind of went through after the 49ers lost 2 weeks ago or a week ago, whenever it was, I think Ben looked at that and said, maybe I'm not ready to make a decision like that. Maybe I'm not ready to deal with the backlash of a decision like that. Maybe I just want to be in Detroit. Maybe I want to finish it in Detroit. And also, I want to get better as a coach. That's fine. Remember how pissed we were that Tony Petitti waited to text Jim Harbaugh when he was in the air? We made a huge deal about
Yeah.
it. Said, look, that's not how you conduct business. You don't text Michigan and Jim Harbaugh, or you make the suspension known once he's in the air on the way to Penn State. You talk to him. You call him on the phone before he even left for Happy Valley. I think that's a similar situation here. If you're interviewing, you know you're getting your second interview, billion-dollar corporation. They're coming to see you, not the other way around. They're in the air. Those phones work in the air. They're on private jets, G5, well, bigger than that.
You've been there. You've been in them jets.
This is 100%. And the phone rang in the G5. I'm on the phone with Romeo Cannell in the G5. So I think it's okay to say Ben Johnson, his agent, might have flubbed that up. Like, you're talking about taking over a team that is worth $5 billion. You got to be able to be accountable. And being accountable, I think, is calling and saying, look, I'm deciding to stay in Detroit. You see the text message? To me, that's a little 2024 young-minded-ish.
Whatever happened, whatever the actual facts of the case are, almost irrelevant.
True.
Because, and hear me out on this, because perception is reality. People, I think for the most part, only believe in narratives these days, in large part. They only believe what they want to believe. The facts, they say they like facts. They don't like facts. They just want the narrative that fits their mind. For Washington does not want to believe that Ben Johnson spurned them.
Yeah.
Right? If you're a Commanders fan, you're sitting there like, oh, we cannot let our fan base know that we got our third choice.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do whatever we have to do.
It's true.
To smear Ben Johnson. We're going to do whatever we have to do to say we wanted Dan Quinn over Mike McDonald. Mike McDonald wouldn't have had to move houses if he chose the Washington Commanders job.
This is true.
So I think for the organization, the front office of the Washington Commanders, I think they're sitting there like, we really botched this. You didn't get the first two guys that you wanted, including the one guy in your backyard.
Yeah.
And they've got some egg on their face, I believe.
Yeah, 100%. And real quick, it's funny you say that. But one year when I was in San Fran, we played Baltimore and D.C. We stayed in the same hotel for a week because they was that close. So you're absolutely right about not having to leave your house. They're upset. I mean, when you're a CEO, when you're president of industries like that, of companies like that that'll work these type of amounts, like, you're arrogant, you're pissed, you're angry, you're upset when things don't go your way. Because typically when you're a billionaire, what do you get, Ryan? You get what you want. I was just watching Yellowstone talk about that. They get what they want on that show because they got the money, because they had a coin. So to have that money, to have that coin, to have that franchise that is valued as the second most valuable team in the NFL, and almost all of franchise, maybe behind the Yankees or so and the Lakers, to have that, and then this guy tell you, and as you're in air, oh, I'm cool. Through text message, I'm not coming. Yeah, I think you get a little petty right then, and then you start doing things like smear his name, say the interview bad, and say this isn't how you handle it, and start dropping other things. This is typical, I didn't get my way, billionaire act.
And, regardless of what happened to it, it's absolutely Detroit's gang.
Yeah.
The Detroit Lions won by having Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson return to be the coordinators for this team next year. They are going to get better. They are going to improve. And Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn have laid a foundation for each side of those football, side of the football team, where guys come in, they'll know exactly what's expected of them. They'll play fast, and I expect them to be pick up right where they left off next year.
Here's a question, though. You know who's on the other side of Josh Harris in Washington now, and that's Magic Johnson. Irvin Magic Johnson. He's a minority, or he's a part of that group. He's a major part of what they do. Magic's not a petty guy. Like, Magic is a business man. He's a business man. That's a Jay-Z quote. You'll know about it. But that's what he is. I don't see Magic being in a situation where he allows this type of pettiness or this type of, juvenile high school act to happen in his new organization, in which they're trying to get away from what they've been in the past under, I can't even think of his name anymore, Dan Snyder. So I think it's wait and see, more information to come out, because with Magic being a part of it, I think there is an element of class personified that I'm like,
Well, part of this, too, is the two guys that were leading the search, Bob Myers of the formerly of the Golden State Warriors, and Rick Spielman, formerly of the Vikings.
And
so
that was my pro day quarterback.
Rick Spielman in the plane coming to Detroit with Chris Field. Over here too.
Yeah,
I mean that could be
little brotherly rivalry.
Hey, I can see Rick calling Chris right now. Hey, what's up with that offensive coordinator of yours?
You can't have him. You can't have him.
Right?
Simply put.
But if you believe anything that Bob Quinn, I don't know why I said Bob Quinn. Ben Johnson has said about the Commanders, and that they're basketball guys. That could be from the Bob Myers end of this component, where Bob Myers is a former GM of the Golden State Warriors, and he's out there. And of course, it's a he said. Of course, who put this out there? Jenna Lane. That Ben Johnson was turned off by the Commanders' ownership, thinking that they have that they're basketball guys and were too confident in their football opinions. Now that's per Jenna Lane from ESPN. And whether that's right or wrong, you got Magic Johnson. You've got, but I don't know. Magic Johnson's a baseball owner too, by the way. So he's a baseball owner. He's a football owner.
Are you talking about Scott Harris? Josh Harris?
Yeah, I'm talking about Magic Johnson though too. Ownership. You know what I mean?
Okay, he said Ben.
Did I say Ben?
Yeah, it's a lot of double names going on. So it's a little tough right now. Bob Quinn, because you were talking about Dan Quinn.
Oh yeah,
it's because you're talking about Dan Quinn.
Ben Johnson,
Dan Snyder.
Bob Quinn, Dan
We're all over the place.
Right.
Bringing it all full circle, I think at the end of the day, both sides saw something that they didn't like, and they chose to comment. I think you look at Ben Johnson; he has every right to be, if that's the case. Josh Harris owns another franchise, and he's not bringing that franchise. You bring in Magic Johnson; he's a basketball guy that's owned the Lakers for a very long time. Now he owns the Los Angeles Dodgers, and then you have Bob Myers, who's a GM who has been the GM for Golden State. Maybe they said some things that Ben didn't like. Maybe Ben saw some things, and then also you look at the fact that this is an organization that is coming off the heels of just terrible front officeship, terrible work practice values. So maybe Ben was like, look, I don't trust the number 2 pick. I don't trust what your franchise is going to be. There's unfinished business in Detroit, and if I do what I did this year, which we believe he's going to, I'm going to still have opportunities next year, because that Eagles job is going to be open next year as well.
No doubt. Guys, okay, we're going to get to Brad Holmes next. Plenty of conversation regarding his postgame or his postseason press conference. Also, John Ubakin going to join us, top of hour number 2. We'll talk a little Michigan football. We'll talk Jim Harbaugh. Okay. We'll go back and revisit that situation as only John Ubakin can. So that's coming up, top of hour number 2. But next, it is all about Brad Holmes. But first, a message from Planet Fitness.
Y'all know what it is. Planet Fitness is the home of the judgment-free zone, where anyone, and we mean anyone, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. I need to work on mine. At Planet Fitness, you will experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, a full body workout in just 30 minutes, and all memberships include fitness training. You get all this for $10 a month, no commitments. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close to you, so it's no excuses. There are 50 in the Metro Detroit area and more throughout the world. It's Planet Fitness.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
I don't think there's any debate that we have the best fan base in the world. Hands down. I don't care what anybody says. Any sport. Look, they made Ford Field tough this year. They made it a tough environment to play, and even our road games, those road atmospheres, they made it. Just all due respect to all of our opponents, but I'll say this: we couldn't have asked more from them for what they did for us in terms of their travel, the sacrifices that they made. We were able to accomplish a lot this year. Division title, home playoff game, playoff win, all just been over 30 years to accomplish all of that. So just really a credit to all the fans for everything that they did. They truly did their part. And so much appreciation. Their support is not overlooked, so we want to thank them.
And that was Brad Holmes earlier today, about an hour before our show began here on Woodward Sports. Brad Holmes addressed the media, and he put a lot out there. It was pretty good stuff.
Yeah, just talking about right now, talking about the fans, his comments, talking about them at home, talking about on the road, how good of a fan base they were. The Lions fans were outstanding this season. As a guy that is coming along on the bandwagon now, but just watching from afar, Lions fans have been there through the throes, man. I'm talking about Lions 0-16. Lions fans stood by, whether it was Matt Patricia, the Lions still stood by, whether it was Matt Millen, the Lions still stood by, whether it was, Mass can take you down the list of GMs and coaches and players, much like yourself. But just Lions fans have always been there, even after the first year with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, 3-13-1. Stuck with it, stayed the course, man. But this year, I've got a lot of friends that always reach out to me, whether they're analysts now, they used to be players, but analysts, or they work with certain companies or they're agents. And whenever they come to Detroit, because it's my city, they just always have something to say. All of them came in, whether it was, whatever game they went to, whether it was playoffs, whether it was regular season, whether it was Thanksgiving, they talked about the atmosphere that was Ford Field this year and just talking about it was amazing and they've never seen anything like that, or they wasn't expecting it to be like that. And just also, all the fans showed up on the road. Like you watched that Kansas City game, man. How you saw the Detroit Lions fan base shut it down on the road, whether it was the Chargers game that was a home game basically for the Detroit Lions, and then these 2 playoff games at home. The fans did an amazing job. I got friends that went to 3 or 4 or 5 away games this year. Dave Logan, friend of the show, friend of yours. He went to 5 games this year on the road. He went to New Orleans. He went to Kansas City. He went to Los Angeles. So they showed up and they showed out, and it's going to be fun to watch them do it year and year again. Now, year one.
One of the things, too, about the fans, and he was on and on and on about the fans, okay? I thought this was the most telling on what he wants you to know as Detroit Lions fans.
And look, this is what I want to tell really our fans is, look, it's only going to get better, okay? We're only going to get better, all right? I don't want anybody to think that this was a one-shot Cinderella magical journey that just happened. No, it's real, all right? This is exactly what it was supposed to happen. And I understand that based on history, from what's happened in the past, like, I understand you have a season like this, it's easy to feel like this was kind of a one-shot, magical, lucky, cute story, which I'm tired of hearing. It was none of that. It's easy to think that, but no, every move that me and Dan make, it has been made to sustain what we are building, all right? Every single move, and I'll say every single move we make and every single move we do not make is to sustain what we have been building. So it's real. Look, It's all to normalize what we're doing, all right? This is to normalize it. This is an efforts to normalize it. Places Dan's been, it was normalized. Places I've been is normalized. That's why we're here. We're bringing this to normalize what this is right now, especially at least put all the efforts into normalizing.
Braylon Edwards, get used to it. Success. This is not a flash in the pan. This is not a Cinderella run. This is not a one-trick pony. This type of success, this type of expectation is going to be around for a very long time.
I agree with him. First thing, before I even get in there, Ryan, I love his energy at the podium, man. When you see these GMs at the podium, guys come in with the sports coat, with the white shirt, with no tie, with the slacks, and, they're in there and it's just, and we're thinking, it just seems they're lying. They just seem like they're lying. The energy is like you're selling me something just to get me to not pay attention to something else. That's not Brad Holmes. He's all over the place. He has no etiquette, and that's why I love it, because it's authentic, because it's genuine, and it translates into truth. But just talking about what he said, he's telling the truth. And he's building this with Dan Campbell, with these other coaches, with Sheila Ham. She's at the top of the list. But they're building it together. They're building it for the long haul. The players that they're drafting, the players that they're bringing in, the players they're choosing not to bring in.
I thought that was interesting, too.
100%.
Yeah.
The players that they're not choosing to bring. The contracts that they're not choosing to go out there and just throw this money at a player because he can help. Does he help the culture? Is he going to be a guy that can fit into what we're building, what we're doing? They're standing on it. For years, the Steelers had a culture in place. Now, they didn't want to pay people, but they had a culture in place. That culture lasted how long, Ryan Ermanni? I'm talking about all through the early 90s, all through the
40
2000s.
years.
All the way, 100%. Like 100%, that was a culture, and they built that thing the right way. And I think that's what you're saying with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. They're getting the right players. They're getting players that want to play for Detroit. They're getting players that want to play for each other and play as a team. So, man, it's great to watch. I can't wait to see what they do in the offseason this year, free agency, and the draft. But they're building something special, and he's right. This is not a one-year flash in the pans. This is going to be something that stands the test of time. You saw it the last 10 games of 2022. And this whole season, just look at what the Lions have done.
The one part about that I slightly kind of wink at is that there's one person that thought this is a flash in the pan. You know what I mean? There's not one.
I think it was for national.
I don't even know about nationally.
Yeah.
I mean, because this organization does get a lot of love. I think it is the Michael Jordan mindset. Michael Jordan could pick anything out and it would drive him. 100%. It would fuel him. He would.
Good call.
I mean, if you watched what's the 10-part series? The Last Dance. If you watch The Last Dance,
is that the player from the 76?
Michael
Nets?
Jordan would make things up in his own mind.
Yeah.
Just to give himself more fuel to work harder to achieve his goal.
And I took that personal.
Absolutely.
And I took that personal.
Absolutely. Yeah. It could be anybody. It could be somebody in the chat right now that doesn't think the Lions are going to be any good. Brad Holmes can find that one person, that one comment in the chat, hypothetically speaking, and turn it into fuel for him.
Yeah, 100%.
But that's what the greats do.
I was just about to say, that's what the greats do. Like, look, how many years with Michigan and D'Antoni, how many years were they actually a really good team? But they still were playing on, we're the underdogs. They don't even think us. They don't like us. We're not that good. We're 3 stars. Like, no, you guys are rocking and rolling for 5 years in a row. But they still pull on that. That's how they won. And I think for the Detroit Lions, it's similar. They were the team nobody cared about. They were the franchise that was a laughing stock. They were, in recent years, 3-13-1 3 years ago. Started 0-6 the year after that.
Right.
So they were pulling on nobody believes in this. Nobody believes you on Hard Knocks. They didn't believe you could do this. Nobody believes in Jared Goff. They don't believe in you. But see, now they won 12 games. Now they went on primetime all the time. Now they won 2 playoff games. Now they got players on their team that people actually think, oh, this guy is going to be really good in this league. This guy's a top 20 player. This guy's a top 25 player. So now you can't pull on them same things. You can't say, oh, nobody believes you. The whole country saw you. So you're absolutely right. Now you got to find somewhere else to pull from. And now the new thing is they don't think you can do it again.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, that's one of the things that Brad Holmes wants to change around here, and Dan Campbell and everybody in the organization. Hell, Bray, when we interviewed Chris Spielman a year and a half ago.
Yeah, my year and a half.
Might have been even longer than that.
Year one, actually.
Yeah, he said when this thing turns, they don't want to just have a good year.
Yeah.
They want to build a level of sustained excellence. They want that thing to just keep turning and keep pressing forward. And I think that's what they've done. And I think if you look at this roster, if you look at the age of some of these guys, yes, they'll have to pay some people, and he addressed that. We'll get into that in just a little bit. But this roster is built to win. This roster is built to have an elongated period of success that we have not experienced around here, but we should expect around here. And I think changing that mindset is really something that people should get used to. The Detroit Lions are going to be around for many, many years to come.
Definitely expected, and this is the best thing about that, Ryan. Like, you will have players on this team for a long time, in my opinion, that remember what it was like 3 years ago. See, that's how you build a culture. You build a culture by keeping cornerstone pieces around. Amon-Ra St. Brown remembers 3 years ago. Penei Sewell remembers 3 years ago. Hell, Jamison Williams remembers 2 years ago. Frank Ragnow, etc. Brian Branch, although he came in on a really good year. But you have Alex Anzalone, who's a leader for this team. These guys remember what it was like 3 years ago. That means every guy that gets drafted to the Detroit Lions or gets brought in free agency, they're going to remind those guys, like, no, we work here. No, we put in work here. No, we trust each other here. We play for the man to the left and to the right here. This is how we do things in Detroit. If you don't want to come here and you don't want to play it this way, well, this ain't the stop for you. And I use aim for effect. That's what you have with so many guys that Brad Holmes trusted to be on this run, that Dan Campbell cultivated on this run in the last 3 years, and next year it makes the fourth year. Those guys are going to be on that staff for a minute. When we were at Michigan, we were having success. It was people still on the team, Ryan, from that national championship team in 97. You got fifth-year seniors that I played with that were freshmen in 97. So the energies, the ideologies of what it took to win that national championship, we came up short, but we won 2 back-to-back big championships. We had an opportunity to win a national championship. It was the same energy from when those guys won in 97, 98. But you keep that integrity, and that's what I think the Lions are building now. Same identity, because you have these players for a while.
No doubt. And, Brad Holmes talked about a number of things, including the off-season rumor mill. We're going to take a break. When we come back, you'll hear what he has to say about all this chatter that happens from now until the time of the draft,
Gossip.
free agency, and the season, what he wants you to know about that. But first, the message from Fairway Packing Company. For over 60 years, the Barada family and Fairway Packing has provided Michigan's finest restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef, Wagyu beef, and dry-aged beef. You could experience the Fairway difference for yourself today. All you have to do is visit the steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods on Mack Avenue. Individually sealed, vacuum-packed steaks in a refrigerator. You walk in, you look at the label, you look at the price, you take it out, and you cook it yourself. My goodness. If you can't make it in person, they ship next day. Fairwaypacking.com. Fairwaypacking.com. Have you ever wondered where all the finest restaurants get their steaks? It's Fairway Packing Company, providing Michigan restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef for over 60 years. But now you can buy these cuts of meat for yourself at the Steak Shop by Fairway Packing Company. Prime porterhouse, A5 Japanese New York strip steak, dry-aged Wagyu beef tomahawk. Delicious. Get to the Steak Shop today. Enjoy fine wine, have a private party, and get the finest cuts of meat anywhere. The Steak Shop on Mack Avenue in Grosse Pointe Woods, or order online, fairwaypacking.com.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. That's right, college basketball's most elite event. You and your 5 best friends just get to any Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically register to win the trip of your dreams. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
You know, over the next few months, don't get spooked this spring by speculation or negative talk or, the entertainment news feed. Don't get spooked by that to not think that we can't build and sustain what we've been building, all right? Don't get spooked by that. And I totally get it. The next few months, it's a lot of speculation and it's a lot of opinions and people don't know what's going to happen. But, I just hope that but they know that every year we have not led them astray, Dan and myself. We've been very upfront and straight with everybody and said, look, again, every move is intentional. Every move that we make, again, every move we do not make is intentional, and I'll even go back to, the past drafts that we've had, every single pick, free agency, every signing, it is very intentional. So I don't want the fans' joy to be derailed. They should be proud of their football team because the fans have earned it and the fans deserve it. But, and also I want them to know that over the next few months, every move that we make, it's to win in December. It's not to win March, April, and May.
And that's the words of Brad Holmes, Lions general manager, who is at the podium today. Those cuts coming from the Detroit Lions YouTube page. The entire Brad Holmes press conference on that Detroit Lions press conference YouTube page. I thought that was pretty interesting too, because I think one of the fun parts about being a fan is speculating and living and dying with every free agent signing for your team and other teams that you're competing with. How many times did we do that with Chase Young going to the 49ers and all of that stuff? But look, one of the things that you'll have to give the Detroit Lions credit for, Bray, is this idea that I hesitate to say it because I hate the phrase, but I love it at the same time. It's in Brad Holmes we trust.
Yeah.
And I do think, he is the general manager of the Detroit Lions. You are allowed to criticize the head coach of the Detroit Lions, and you are allowed to criticize the general manager of the Detroit Lions. That doesn't mean you don't agree with 90% of the stuff that they do, but at the same time, he has shown that his players that he picks in the draft specifically, free agency, there's been a little bit of I'd say, I don't want to say more misses than hits.
Yeah,
but
it's been
it's been a little bit of a mixed
hasn't been
bag.
as strong as the draft,
right? But I think for the most part, whatever Brad Holmes does at this point, you just say, okay, we trust you.
Yeah, it's just human nature. I mean, look, how many times how much has our parents been right about, and we choose not to listen to them? You don't know what you're talking about. I think it's different. I don't think it's this. People argue just for the sake of argument. That's what human nature does. People come up with their own opinions for that same reason. I think with this situation, Brad Holmes has shown us I got all the faith in the world in Brad Holmes. I know that he's going to do a great job with the free agency. Hell, if C.J. Gardner-Johnson doesn't get hurt, maybe that secondary is better for the rest of the season. If Emmanuel Mosley doesn't tear his ACL again, maybe Cam Sutton doesn't have to play number one cornerback. Maybe Emmanuel Mosley is the number one cornerback for the Detroit Lions. So it didn't necessarily work out, but also there were injuries involved in that situation. So, look, I say sit tight, relax, have fun. We're still allowed to say what we don't like, or maybe get this player or that player, because if we couldn't do that, we wouldn't have jobs.
Right. Well, that's a part of being a sports fan too.
But
even the game management situation in the San Francisco game. Look, I love Dan Campbell. I love the guy.
Yeah.
He's the greatest coach in Detroit Lions history. But I disagree with him about not tying the game 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. I think you may disagree with me.
Yeah.
But I disagreed with that, and I said that, and I think that's fine.
There's nothing wrong with that. Maz is on the other side, as he has a right to have his opinion as well. He said, hey, look, just kick the field goal. So everybody is allowed to have their opinion. But I think the bigger thing is we trust Brad Holmes. We know that Brad Holmes is going to do well in the draft. We know that Brad Holmes is going to bring guys here. They're not only going to be good players for this team, they're going to fit the city. They're going to fit the team. They're going to fit the identity. And Dan Campbell is going to be able to coach these guys up. I think Dan Campbell is going to get better as a coach in the offseason. He's going to face some real questions within himself. But we got two guys that are doing it the right way. They're Sporting News, Executive of the Year, and Head Coach of the Year. So the Lions are doing something right, and I think we have the trust, but we can still have the conversations on should you have taken Jack Campbell or not. We still can do that.
No doubt. All right, so this is the one that a lot of people are having fun with today, and that is draft grades. Every coach, every general manager in the league hates draft grades. I think we hate draft grades. Thankfully, I'll speak for myself.
Right.
I hate draft grades. I hate game grades. Grades after each game. Did you win or did you lose? I don't care if this guy gave a B+ or a C- or an A. Doesn't matter. That for me, I'm just saying my own opinion.
Then that's fine, but as a former player, like, it was good to see where I was in the games. Like, was I on point? Like, as I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, did I get better from week to week? Like, when you look at that film, because when you turn on film, like, that's one thing that makes another guy's his game grade go up. When you're looking at film and you play next to a guy, and every time you get that grade, 87, 88, 86, 89, 91, and you're looking at your own draft grade, it's like, your own game grade.
Right.
I got to step myself up.
Well, the only game grade I think you would care about is the one that your team is giving you in the film session. I don't think you care about the grades that the columnist is giving at the Cleveland Plain Dealer. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay, yeah. The hell with that.
That's what I'm saying. Here's what Brad Holmes had to say about the 2021 draft class and draft grades.
Been set, and look, I'll go back to the 2021 draft. All right. So the 21 draft, each pick from that draft was very intentional. And the reason why I go back to that draft, a couple reasons. For one, it was 2021. All right. We just finished the 2023 season. So that's when you're supposed to grade a draft, not the day after a draft. So, but when you look back at those picks, and those picks were not welcome by many in this room. Dave, you want us to pick quarterback. You didn't want us to pick Penei Sewell. People didn't want us to wait till the fourth round to draft a wide receiver. People didn't want to wait on a Derek Barnes to develop. But every single move was intentional and was made with intention, also, for reasons of what people might not say about, or what people might say about not sustaining, look, they might say schedule. They might say, we don't have all the picks. Look, back in 2021, we did not have multiple ones. We did not have multiple twos. We did not have 4 picks in the first 100, Now, we did have that, and we used those wisely. You guys didn't agree, but we used those picks wisely. But we had one extra pick in 2021. We had a comp third. That was Ife Melifonwu. Carlos, I know you said that was a miss, but that was the only extra. That was the only extra pick. So what I'm saying is, that's not required to sustain what we built going forward. So, just want to make sure that the fans just know, look, we always said we'll draft, develop, sign our own, build through the draft. And we're just living that right now.
So called out a couple of media members there. Obviously, fair game, sure. But one of the parts about that I don't like is I don't think those guys like giving draft grades.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever had a conversation with either. I don't believe I've ever had a conversation with either of them on that. But I don't think either of those guys, whether Dave Burkett, who he called out, or Carlos, or Justin Rogers, who's in that room, who's a beat writer, Kyle Meinke, who's a beat writer, Matt Broder, right? I don't think any of those guys like draft grades. However, they all have bosses, man.
Yeah.
And sometimes your boss tells you to, doesn't ask you, tells you to do something that gets clicks. And one of the things that gets clicks is any conversation about the NFL draft and any grade. It gets clicks. There's a history behind it. And I think everybody wants to see how their team does. We are ill-equipped. Anybody is ill-equipped. And that goes for general managers, too, to grade their draft the day after the draft. Before any of these rookies ever get on the field in an NFL game, nobody is equipped to grade any draft. It's the dumbest thing I think we have in this business. It's draft grades the day after the draft. But it's what the bosses like, and so you do it. You get some right, you get some wrong.
Yeah, I don't think people have a problem with draft grades. I mean, unless you do something just dastardly, like you say your grade's an F. But I don't think it's draft grade. I think it's the individual person. Like you heard him talk about Carlos. You said Milifano was a miss. I think when you start to say specific picks and you talk about should not have drafted Penei Sewell, that is the dumbest move ever. You should have drafted Micah Parsons. You see what Mark. When you start breaking it down like that, then I think there's a different issue. Then I think Brad Holmes has the right to say it. And you point out you thought this was a miss, or you said that's a miss, or you said this guy wasn't the right guy for the job. Should have been this guy. Draft grades, I agree with you. It's a nothing burger. You don't even have to bring it up. But when you start talking about misses in specific, you talk about particular picks, and you talk about what somebody or who they should have drafted versus drafting a player, I think it becomes fair game. You can make a comment or not. Now, if you choose to do it versus not do it, that's on you.
Yeah, he's gotten more draft. The drafts have been really good, Bray.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anybody can argue about that. And now it's going to come time where a lot of these guys are going to have to get paid. And
It gets tougher.
Yeah, it does get tougher. And, I'm up against it right now, so I don't want to go down this road just yet because I think it's a big topic, and I don't want to do that. So let's do this. Let's take a break right here.
Let's do it.
And then we're expected to be joined by John Bacon. John Bacon coming up. We'll talk a little Michigan football, and then we'll get back into this Detroit Lions discussion. We'll do that next, but first, a message from Premier Pet Supply.
Hey, give your pet the best. Premier Pet Supply is hands down Michigan's best pet store. Same prices and all the convenience of the online big box realtors with one major difference. Family and locally owned and operated for over 30 plus years. Over 60 brands of foods with nutrition experts there to help you. Same day, local curbside and home delivery. Premier Pet Supply. Give your pet the best. Check them out online today at www.premierpetsupply.com.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. That's right, college basketball's most elite event. You and your 5 best friends just get to any Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically register to win the trip of your dreams. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Planet Fitness, you can get energy without the judgment.
Hi, can you help me with this?
You don't know how to use it?
This is better.
Join now through January 19th for just 24 cents down, $10 a month. Never intimidating, always free fitness training and equipment for every workout. Join today during the Big Fitness Energy Sale for 24 cents down, $10 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal extended through January 19th.
Over 50 Metro Detroit locations.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m. You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Hey gang, let me tell you about Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. You can come into any Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience and register to win a trip of your dreams and all expenses paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament. That's right. No expense spared for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 7 days a week. You could walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Wicked awesome.
All right, guys, we're going to continue on with some Detroit Lions talk for a little bit here. One of the things about this team now moving forward, you heard from Brad Holmes talking about everything that they will do is intentional. Every move that they make is intentional. Every move that they don't make is intentional. And that means, free agency, the draft. But one of the things that Dan Campbell said last week, Bray, is he does not care how talented you are. If you do not fit in that locker room, you will not be a member of the Detroit Lions. Brad Holmes was asked about that part of adding players today. Here's what he had to say.
We have to get past just looking for the most talented player. Like, that's, in my opinion, that's the prerequisite of evaluation. That's who's the fastest, who's the strongest, who's got the most height. That's very coherent thing to do. No, it's how do you find the right intangibles in a football player? And that's what's made us who we are. And that's what I was saying about that 2021 class. That was very intentional to find those guys that had the intangibles. It's not that, we waited to the 4th round to pick a wide receiver. No, we wanted St. Brown.
And that's the game, right? I mean, when you evaluate these players, Bray, and you identify, I got to have that Amon-Ra St. Brown player. And then you're looking at the draft, you're like, well, I don't have to get him here. I don't, you know what I mean? You're almost playing a chess game. Well, you are playing a chess game. When can I get the player that I want? And that's where I'm going to take him.
Yeah, you're playing chess until it's checkmate. Until you took a player because you're waiting for the intangibles, and then those intangibles really never showed up. So now you're scrambling at the end trying to find that player. Look, and I'm not saying that's a thing because it seems like it hasn't happened yet, but I just think there are exceptions to every rule. And I think as good as Brad Holmes has been in the draft, I think as good as the players have been when he's drafted them, he's found the guys. Brian Branch was the guy they needed. Brian Branch is the guy that's going to cause a lot of decisions to be made in that secondary this season. You talk about Penei Sewell. Penei's the guy they wanted. Penei Sewell's become arguably the best player at his position in the NFL. But at the same time, there comes along players that you just got to take chances on. Sometimes you got to mold them to fit your culture. Sometimes you got to give them a chance to want to be a part of something greater than themselves. So I respect him on that. But there are wild cards, man. Like, I look at University of Michigan, like Chris Perry. Chris Perry was a wild card. Came here. Chris Perry couldn't be more of a Michigan man than any man that ever went to University of Michigan. There are players you got to take chances on. I just hope that if those players come up, look at the Lions when they passed on Randy Moss. Like, Randy Moss is one of those guys. Could you take a chance on him and see if he could fit your culture?
That would have been nice.
Exactly.
Guys, let's go to the phone lines now and bring in one of our faves, John U. Bacon, New York Times best-selling author, Michigan historian, writing a new book right now, but still has time to join us. John, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing shockingly well, my friend. How the heck are you guys?
I love it. We're doing good. We're a little bit sad there was no football this weekend,
football.
But we'll get over it.
I know, man. Withdrawal. Not even the Pro Bowl. Not even, what's going on here? I need something.
It was nothing to watch in basketball. It's just not my cup of tea right now.
Not yet. Right?
Yeah.
Not yet.
For some reason, right? We'll let that one go for now.
Hey, John, let's
Everybody scored 70 anyway.
Let's look back a couple of weeks. Jim Harbaugh leaves the University of Michigan. What was your initial reaction to the news that this thing was starting to heat up a little bit? Because if you would have told me 6 weeks ago that Jim Harbaugh was leaving, I really don't think I would have accepted it or believed it. But as it got closer, I could see it. I could believe it. What happened? I know it's a big question there, but what happened? How did he leave?
Well, I can't fill in the whole picture, but I can fill in a fair amount of it. So still things I don't know, still things maybe everybody doesn't know on some level. But I'd say a few things. One, Michigan kind of came in a little too little, a little too late in terms of what he's concerned about. And at the very end, they capitulated on those points. So I don't know why, if you're going to capitulate on the points that he wanted in late January, why not do it in December when it matters? So that was curious to me. But at the same time, we know the Spanos family came in with everything, with absolutely everything. Not only money for Jim, $16 million, and Michigan's not going to match that. Nobody in college football is, I don't think. So that's one thing, guaranteed 5-year contract. No stipulations on the NCAA or for-cause firing and so on. So that's a big difference there. But also, tons of money for Ben Herbert, for assistant coaches, for everything he wants. It's all there. So the contrast between Michigan not giving him what he wants until the very end and the Chargers giving him everything he wants right up front almost immediately, those two things, you combine them, and that's kind of the end of the story. So I really can't say for sure if anything would have been different if you had a different athletic director. Harbaugh, we always knew, had the NFL itch, and whether he stayed or not, it'd still be there. But we can say that Michigan and Harbaugh could have done better on this whole deal, I think. So the odds would have been better if Michigan had done a better job. I don't know if that would have been enough.
John, and that's the point I want to expound upon if I could, because I feel like Michigan blew the negotiation, and maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong about that, but just the sense I get, because like you say, he got everything he wanted in the contract, it was just too late. So if you give him what he wanted in December, maybe he doesn't even explore this road with the Chargers. Is that along the right track, or am I just living in La La Land, which wouldn't be the first time?
No, I think we're into theories, keep in mind. We cannot run the experiment twice.
Right.
So we can never know for sure what would have worked, what would have not worked, and so on. We need a control group. We're not going to get one, obviously. We're not going to do this again. But that theory is about my theory, basically, that and look, first of all, you have to give Ward Manuel credit that in 2020, when Michigan goes 2-4 and showing zero promise almost in any direction. And that's the year, of course, that Mel Tucker, with almost nobody on his roster, the cupboard was bare when D'Antonio left. They beat Michigan convincingly at Michigan during COVID, I grant you. That was probably the worst loss of the Harbaugh era, I think. If Ward Manuel had let Harbaugh go that year at 2-4, I'm not sure how much pushback you get, frankly. So give Ward Manuel credit for that. He rehired Harbaugh when he didn't have to, I think. But then after that, when Harbaugh, much to everybody's surprise, including mine, basically runs the table all but one loss that year to Michigan State. They're Big Ten champs. They've crushed Ohio State at home. They obviously crushed again Iowa in the Big Ten title game. At that point, you've got 2 years to re-sign Harbaugh before this comes up again, and they didn't do it. And as one friend of Jim joked with me, when they wanted to cut his pay after 2020, cut his pay in half, that took him about a weekend. And when they wanted to restore his contract, they couldn't get that done in 2 years. So that part is on Michigan. They could have done a lot better job there. But again, I can't say with any confidence if that would have made the difference or not. I really can't.
I'm glad you had that last caveat, John, because beforehand, Ryan Ermanni was looking at you with the side eye, like, what you talking about, Ward Manuel?
I still am looking at it like that.
Exactly.
I do. I am still looking at Ward Manuel that
100%.
way. Yeah.
I'm going to lighten the mood up, though. Let's switch gears on talking about who stepped in to replace Jim Harbaugh. Your first thoughts when Sharon Moore accepted the job, got the job, was announced that he was taking the job. Like, was it one of those moves where is he the guy for the job? Is he the only guy for the job? What are your thoughts on Sharon Moore?
He's not the only guy for the job. Obviously, other candidates were around. I have it on quite good authority that DeBoer at
that's the one.
Washington, that he was waiting to see what Michigan was going to do. He'd rather go to Michigan than Alabama, which says a lot about where the program is now versus where it was 10 years ago. So that's certainly a positive sign. But I think, and I give Ward Manuel credit for this, I think Sharon Moore is Michigan's best chance for continuing the success they've had. Now, everybody's a risk no matter whom you hire, and proof positive is Rich Rodriguez. People forget he had turned down Alabama the year before.
Yep.
Yeah, and a guy named Nick Saban took over. How'd he do? So that was their second choice. Rich Rodriguez was their first choice. And almost everyone thought when he got to Michigan that was going to be, a slam dunk, modern offense, all that stuff. Didn't work out. There's always a risk with any new coach, period. In this case, the risk is, okay, he's not been a head coach. He's 37, has not got that kind of experience, but he knows his culture better than any other head coach out there, and it's not even close. He helped build the culture that Michigan is currently riding. The players love that guy. I know, Braylon, you talk to the players, and I'm sure you're hearing the same thing I'm hearing. They love him. They respect him. He's a hell of a coach. And how many assistant coaches have you seen coach 4 games? Or whatever it's been, 2 games, 3 games.
Yeah, 4.
That's four total. You're right. The 2 other games are somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And those include Penn State and Ohio State. And I'm sorry, I don't care whose program it is, etc. Those are big boy games. You got to make decisions on the spot every 25 seconds. That is a hell of a test right there. And on top of that, look, I saw him recruit Dax Hill. It's in overtime. He had him. He was the guy on Dax Hill. He did a great job. Dax Hill's a great kid. And he was camped out in Oklahoma. He had him. And then on a Sunday night, when he's driving to dinner with his wife to see the coaches, Dax Hill calls him and says, I'm looking at Alabama. I'm sorry. And, man, he was crushed, understandably. He's a 5-star player, a true one. But he didn't get mad at the kid like a lot of coaches do. And, Braylon, I know you've seen those stories.
Yeah, hell yeah.
He stuck by him. He said, we're here for you. We want what's best for you. You got to say what that is. But the lines are open. We can talk anytime you want. And by handling it that way, first class, he got Dax Hill back within about 48 hours. And that's a class act. So I think he gets Michigan. Every coach has got a risk. I mean, Juwan Howard I thought was a sure thing. It's not working out right now, but who knows? You never, ever know completely. You just don't, no matter who it is. But I think Sharon Moore is the best candidate for the job for Michigan right now, and I would suspect he does very well.
John, I agree with you 100% because at the end of the day, those were 2 $10 million coaches standing across the sidelines from him, and he beat them both. One being James Franklin and the other being Ryan Day. So I don't want to hear anything else. I agree with you 1,000%. One last question about the situation. Now that Jim's gone, because part of the reason why we got the recruits that we got, part of the reason why we didn't have to pay the money in NIL we did, is because Jim was a big part of that. People still wanted to come to Jim. Last of kind of like the icon coaches, as Ryan Ermanni calls it all the time. Does Michigan now have to operate a little more in the NIL transfer portal space now that Jim's gone, or do you think Sharon will still be allowed to keep that block him and kind of the structure that they've already had set up where they're not spending a ton of money?
That's a great question, Braylon, and I would say probably somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
I think that Sharon Moore will bond. He's a great recruiter, truly. And also, who recruits, man, you know this better than anybody. Who recruits the players? Ultimately, it's the current players. They come for the weekends. They don't believe the coaches. They believe their team, their future teammates.
Yep.
What's it really like here? And they tell them, you know this better than I do. So if the players left Sharon Moore, that's what they're going to tell him. So I think he can still do most of what Jim Harbaugh did. What Harbaugh had and Sharon Moore just can't have, and that is, NFL ties, NFL experience, your brothers coaching the Baltimore Ravens, etc. That you knew under Harbaugh, if you do what he asks, you will get to the NFL. And that's been proven repeatedly. So Sharon has not got that yet, but he can get that pretty quickly. And he's got plenty of NFL players out there who will vouch for him. So having said all that, whether Harbaugh stayed or not. The NIL game has already changed. Ohio State is loading up that money cannon like no one's business.
$13 million.
And even if Harbaugh stayed, you'd still have to crank up the program at Michigan because right now they're still somewhat behind. So that's going to happen no matter what.
Talking to the great John U. Bacon, New York Times best-selling author, and, of course, Michigan historian, along with about 20 other titles. But, John, I want to go back to this Ward Harbaugh thing, if I can, for 1 second. How is Ward viewed by Michigan, at large? And the reason I ask that is because I take my friend group, guys that I graduated with at Michigan, and most of us blame him for losing Jim Harbaugh. Is that is that fair? Is that a narrative in our own minds? Do most Michigan fans look at it like that, or are they just, oh, Jim's going back to the NFL anyway? But I can't get past it.
Well, I'm sure of this, and ask your college buddies. I'm sure you're not alone. So a lot of folks will put that in his doorstep. If I had to do a rough, based on damn near nothing estimate, I would say about 2/3 would blame Ward and 1/3 say Harbaugh's going to go to the NFL either way. And like I said before, we simply can't know.
Where did their relationship go? I mean, I don't think. Is it fair to say they just didn't like each other? Is that fair? Is that or no? They got along or they didn't get along?
How about it? That would not be unfair. How's that?
I love it. I love it. Oh,
they were teammates at one point. They were college teammates.
Oh man, that's great. Oh man, I'll tell you, John. I hope this for Sharon Moore. Thought Rich Rodriguez got a little bit of a raw deal from the time he walked into Michigan. I thought Brady Hoke had a little bit of it was more coming together. But still people being pulled in different directions. With Jim Harbaugh, you go 15-0, and you still got people pulling in different directions. I hope Sharon Moore gets a chance.
I hope he'll lose to Toledo.
I hope he gets a chance. That's all I could say, because it just feels like the politics at Michigan always feels like it kind of ruins something, and it doesn't have to be like this. And maybe that's just my sour grapes right now.
Well, my strong impression is that so far he's getting basically 100% support. Maybe there's always, it's Michigan. There's always 5 or 10%. There'll be naysayers, I'm sure. But look, I mean, I think that they've seen him on camera. Look, Harbaugh and Ward both were emphatic that he's the guy. And neither one had any wiggle room on that one. That tells you something. I think the support is there. He's a known quantity. At some point, you have to call him a Michigan man, because I think it can get silly sometimes. But man, he gets it. That's for sure. And if Michigan's not learned their lesson in terms of the overall community, the overall family, then shame on Michigan, because if you set a man up for failure, probably going to fail. Again, with Rich Rod, it's kind of the same thing with Jim Harbaugh. I can't say for sure if he had all the support that Harbaugh did, if it'd be completely different. The defense is still the defense, so who knows? But you'd increase your chances. In this case, I think Sharon Moore is getting, so far, every chance he needs. What he needs from Ward Manuel now is help on NAL, because he has not got the name that Ryan Day does right now. And Ryan Day, I mean, they're spending money like crazy down there, and he will need that support. So, but so far, so good is my impression.
Great stuff, John. I appreciate it. And no matter what we say, there will always be people that believe Jim Harbaugh was going back to the NFL no matter what. I just don't believe it. I just don't believe that was 100% the case. But like you say, there's no do-overs.
I won't argue on that. I will say Rich Rod lost to Toledo, and then he got rid of all the All-American pictures and all the Michigan coaches. So you can have Brady. Keep Rich Rod's ass out of Ann Arbor. That's my last 2 cents on it. That's my 2 cents.
John, you working on anything you want to
plug? Sure. I'm writing a book on the Edmund Fitzgerald. How about that? Not football comes out in a year and a half. So That is a slow burn plug right there. 1.5 years. Don't forget.
Oh my gosh, we love that. We'll get you on Fox 2 for that one. How about that?
Hey, thank you very much. I will take it, Ryan. I will take it.
All right, I'm sure you'll be on bigger shows than that too. So, but we'll do our part here as well. John U. Bacon, we love you. Thanks so much for setting the record straight.
Talk to you.
Always a pleasure. And Braylon, by the way, your last comment, that was at least 3 cents right there. Maybe 3.5. That was good stuff.
That's my guy. I appreciate it. See you later.
I love it. That's great. And I have to look. Yeah. I love the people in the chat. I love the people in the chat. Cody Engel and I feel like we have this newfound kinship. Like we are kind of we are bonding. We are on the same. This we are not. Just a fan is also. They are certain, they are emphatic that Jim Harbaugh was always going back to the NFL. And I just don't believe that.
Right.
And you know what? I will never know, and you will never know if that was always the case. If he got a contract with everything that he wanted in December,
right,
I think he would have signed it. And again, there are, like John just said, there are no do-overs.
Right.
We don't get to try it again. But I can have my opinion. I'll let you have your opinion. And what he says publicly doesn't matter. He also said publicly he has no problems with Ward Manuel.
That's a lie. And we determined
that is a lie.
That was a lie.
So, I just don't understand this. Well, he said so public. What does that mean?
My only thoughts on that are this: he flirted with leaving for the NFL 2 years ago. Flirted for leaving the NFL last season. So that's the only reason why I say that. I think at some point he was ready to go back to the NFL. And you could be right as well.
I agree with you.
That would be the one determinant where I'm like, damn, he flirted 2 years ago. And he flirted last year. He flirted with 2 different situations.
And every time you say that, I'll put the contract back in play. It took a weekend to take the money away from him, but he had to flirt with the NFL to get some sort of a raise from Michigan, because once they took the money away from him, they had a hard time giving it back to him.
This is true.
So that's just how I feel about it. And nobody will ever know. We will never truly really know. And I'm not even sure Harbaugh could play it out in his own mind. He may not know, right? Yeah. So I don't know.
The further Jim Harbaugh gets away from December of 2023, the more the answer will never be known.
No doubt. He don't care about it, and we don't care.
Chargers, who's got better than us?
Nobody. All right, guys. Let me ask you this question, Bray. We'll do a little.
Talk to me.
Do you want to continue doing Brad Holmes, or do you want to talk a little Super Bowl?
Let's talk a little Super Bowl.
Let's talk a little Super Bowl. Big problem in Las Vegas regarding the San Francisco 49ers. We'll talk about that coming up. But first, a message from Premier? Swiss.
Nah, Swiss.
From Swiss. That's it. Kenny's keeping me here.
Yeah, do y'all still got the NFC Championship loss on the brain? Trust me, I do too. But while you waiting on the draft to get here, you can shop your home and auto insurance. Shop it like a pro with Swiss. They cover us here at Woodward Sports, and they should be covering you too, man. So go on, hit up Mark, man. Ask for Swiss Insurance today at SwissINS.com or call 248-800-4177. That's Swiss Insurance.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
Savor the heart of home at Big Boy with our all-new Down Home Comfort dishes. Feast on home-style goodness with our Southern Comfort Chicken Bowl, veal parmigiana, and apple pie hotcakes. The Down Home delight doesn't stop there. Potato pancakes are back. Dive into the richness of our perfectly crafted potatoes with our classic potato pancakes and our stuffed potato pancakes. Top off your meal with our new gingerbread shake, a seamless blend of creamy vanilla and sweet gingerbread flavors. Nothing beats the comforting taste of Down Home cooking. Enjoy every bite, only at Big Boy.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Oh, yeah. Nothing. G-G-G-G-A. Oh, sorry, I forgot. There we go. Oh, cheers, buddy. I think we need to get you a pick.
Hey, welcome back. It is the Ermanni and Edwards with Maz program. Maz out today. Maz had a colonoscopy earlier this morning. Looks like it came back clean, and good for the big guy. I'll tell you this much. It's a great reminder to everybody. We mentioned this at the start of the show. To the men out there specifically, get yourselves checked out, especially if you are of age. You know, if you've got prior history, you're looking at 45 years old. And certainly if you're 50 or above, get yourself out. Maz fits in that category.
It's crazy you talked about that because I talked about watching Yellowstone, and in the first 2 seasons, he had colon cancer. So it's interesting you bring that up.
And then, of course, you know, it's a great reminder, you know, Jamie Samuelson, the great Detroit radio broadcaster here for many years, lost his life due to colon cancer. And you know, one of the things that his family is suggested and hoped for is that many people will take Jamie's life as an example why you should get yourself checked out. Even if you think you feel good at the time, even if you think there's nothing wrong, still get checked out. Absolutely. So we're thinking about Jamie today, and of course, hey, Tom Massaway, good job on you, buddy. We appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow. But Bray, Super Bowl week. There is already some controversy brewing. You ready for this one?
Come on, let's rock and roll.
Well, the Chiefs are practicing at the Las Vegas Raiders facility. Nice NFL facility. The 49ers
UNLV?
Are at UNLV.
Oh, they suck.
And this is not a UNLV-specific topic.
Okay.
But the NFL has signed off on the practice fields there at UNLV, and the 49ers hate the practice surface. They laid sod on top of the turf, and it feels like they're practicing on a sponge surface. That is, according to Adam Schefter, that the 49ers are not happy with the facilities at UNLV. They say it's like practicing on a sponge surface, and there are seams in the practice field. They are worried about injury. So there's a lot going on there. And the Lions would be at UNLV if they were in the Super Bowl too. So that is something to look for this week as well.
Yeah, 100%. You know who the Chiefs are. The Chiefs are the team with Patrick Mahomes, with Taylor Swift, with Travis Kelce, with Andy Reid. They're going to team that's going to get first rights of everything. So they got the best facility. They got an actual NFL facility. Look, those fields suck. When they try to put them together like that, Ryan, when we played Texas in the Rose Bowl, the second time we played in the Rose Bowl, 2005, January. So Texas got USC, UCLA, they got all the nice facilities where we've spent a lot of our time practicing at the Home Depot Center, which was the MLS Center. I think this is where the Galaxy played. Soccer fields and football fields are not the same. Practicing on stuff, we were slippery, cleats didn't fit, and whether we use our 7 studs or whether we use our short studs, it didn't work. We slipped, we slide. A couple guys pulled some groin injuries, if you will, some minor injuries, nothing major, but it sucks when you get the short end of the stick, man, and that's what's going on in this case. That when you put that side on top of the turf. On top of the turf, it is a spongy feel. You can't get in and out of your routes like you want to. It feels like you're kind of floating along. That's when you injure knees. That's when you injure ankles. That's when you get tackled and stuff. You injure shoulders as well. So I hope they're smart about how they're doing it. I mean, hey, look, we know who the brand is. We've been watching the brand since damn near the first game of the year. It's Patrick Mahomes, but it's really Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Yeah, you know what it is.
Yeah. What have you? This number has come down from 2 to 1.5. San Francisco favored by that. Are you surprised by that, or does that sound about right?
I think by the time the game starts, the Chiefs will be favored. Right. I think it will switch. I mean, you look once the money comes in. Look at how the Chiefs are operating. I mean, you look at where the Chiefs have played their 3 playoff games. Like they have handily beat everybody they played. It hasn't really been close. Patrick Mahomes has looked outstanding. They've scored on the first drive each time. Travis Kelce has found himself yet again, playoff performer. He's using that experience as one of the greatest tight ends of all time, arguably, maybe even the greatest tight end of all time. I'm still a Rob Gronkowski and him sharing it type of a guy. Andy Reid is dialed in, man. He is really exploiting these defenses early on, and then Steve Spagnuolo. Oh, my God. What he's doing with that defense on the opposite side, he's shutting these offenses. I'm talking about guys like Josh Allen, shutting it down. Lamar Jackson's going to win the MVP. Shut him down, too. So when you look at it from that standpoint, 49ers haven't looked great. They struggled against Green Bay the entire game, and you saw what they did against the Lions. They were just a better team in finishing. Detroit Lions destroyed them early on, and Brock Purdy didn't look good. Kyle Shanahan looked a little nervous. So I think rightfully so, the Chiefs will probably be favored by the time the game starts on Sunday.
I hate bringing this up, but it is newsworthy. It did happen over the weekend, and that is that Patrick Mahomes' father got his 3rd DUI. And the reason I bring it up is because do you believe in any way, shape, or form that will be a distraction for Patrick Mahomes on the field? And the reason I even asked that question, and no, he didn't kill anybody. But Andy Reid, a couple of years ago, his son did kill somebody while they were drinking and driving. And Andy Reid did not coach that week focused.
Yeah.
And there's no way he could. And any parent knows that you cannot do that. I think Andy Reid's mind was somewhere else that week, and it was a big problem leading up to the Super Bowl. These are 2 different things, much different things. But at the same time, it could be a distraction for Mahomes. I don't think it will be. But his dad is now... it's a 3rd time in Texas. That's a mandatory 2 to 10 year prison sentence.
Yeah, he definitely. Their relationship is an interesting one, if you will. Anyway, I don't think this will affect Patrick Mahomes. He is a consummate professional, and also it's a guy that has been to 3 Super Bowls. He's won 2 of them. He's won 2 MVPs. So he knows how to handle stress. He knows how to handle pressure. But at the same time, this is his dad. This is a guy. This is his father's fault, 100%. Like his father, you see him at the game. Look, I love Patrick Mahomes' dad. I love Big Mahomes, as they call him, smoke his cigar, smoke his Black and Mild, have his drinks, and the energy is always cool. It's fun to watch the clips. It's fun to watch the TikToks. But at the same time, how is he getting home? What is he doing when he leaves the stadium? Like, we're not talking about that after we watch the jokes. So, this is something, look, your son is supposed to be the one. You're supposed to be one guiding your son. You're supposed to be the one educating your son and keeping your son out of trouble, not the other way around. Your son shouldn't have to worry about you getting your 3rd DUI as he's about to play in his 4th Super Bowl. So shame on Patrick Mahomes. With that being said, again, I think Patrick is fine, and I think he makes enough money to where it'll be a 2-year charge. And if his father has to sit down for 2 years, maybe this is something that his father needs. Maybe this is something that his father needs to sit to turn. So I don't want to see no black man in prison. But if you keep operating like this, you're eventually going to do something that you can't come back from. And that's how I look at it. So Mahomes will be fine, both of them.
Yeah, no, and definitely. And I think you and I both believe that that'll be the case. And I don't think I don't think there's a situation where I don't think Patrick Mahomes is shocked by any of this. Probably,
Not at all.
right? I mean, this is something that they've probably been.
Notice when you see Patrick, and notice when you see the Mahomes film, you never see the mom and dad together.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Hey, quickly, not quickly, but one of our great people in the chat here, somebody that's in the chat a lot, the Ronin 99 revealed in the chat that he's fighting prostate cancer right now.
Man.
An early diagnosis saved his life.
That's just a prayer.
So we just, Ronan, we appreciate you.
Definitely.
We absolutely are rooting for you. We're in your corner. Thanks so much for listening. Hopefully we can provide a little bit of a distraction throughout your day. And, man, we support you 100%. And anything we can do for you, let us know.
Tell them keep us updated on the journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're part of the family. You're part of the show. Keep us updated on your journey. Let us know if there's anything we can do along those lines to reach out, help, say prayers, etc. We want to be a part of it.
Absolutely. And thanks for sharing that, because I think when, people, men specifically, share their health diagnosis, it helps other men.
Men are shy. Men are tough. Men don't like the feeling and the word even of vulnerability.
Yep.
So.
Yep, absolutely. So I think that's great stuff there. All right, guys, going to go around the NFL. Lots to get to coming up next. But first, a message from Guardian Alarm. They're your local security experts and have been for over 90 years. When you see this black and yellow sign out in front of your house, it tells the bad guys one thing.
Stay out.
Whether you are at home or on the road, they're 24/7 professional monitoring, customized solutions from real experts, and technology backed by people means you are backed by the best. Call this number right here, 1-800.
Stay out.
That number again, 1-800.
Stay out.
Call them today. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Hey gang, what happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. That's exactly what Les Stanford has done. Some great deals early on in the month of February here. Les Stanford Buick GMC, located in Ferndale on Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile. If you're looking for a Chevy or a Cadillac, Les Stanford in Dearborn, where they have been for over 55 years. You can find the brand you want. All GM brands under one umbrella. Chevy, Cadillac, Buick, GMC, LesStanford.com, LesStanford.com.
Find new road.
Find them. You know what time it is.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. All right, Braylon Edwards.
Talk to me.
You ready to get the latest news and notes from the NFL?
Give me the scoop.
Cliff Kingsbury says, to the Las Vegas Raiders. Instead, he is the new offensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders. He will pair up with new head coach Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn, head coach, defensive guru. And it looks like Cliff Kingsbury will have his pick of the litter there on offense and just run the offense, be the offensive head coach, for lack of a better way to say it. And can he get his hands on Caleb Williams, somebody he's close to? He was on the staff at USC last year with Cliff King or with Lincoln Riley, Caleb Williams from the D.C. area. This seems like it's a match made in heaven if Washington can make it happen.
Look, I don't believe in coincidence. There's a reason why Cliff Kingsbury is going to the team that has the number 2 pick, and the number 1 team already may have their quarterback in Chicago Bears. He did not choose to go there, and he was up for that job as well. He's been working with Caleb Williams, who is also from D.C. It seems like he will be drafted 2nd overall. Maybe that's what he knows. Also, it's a better organization. And you look at how the Raiders have been running. I understand Antonio Pierce may change things up, and I hope he does. But you look at how that organization has been run in the course of the last couple of years. 3 different head coaches moved. In the last 4 years, 3 coaches moved. With the Washington Commanders, it's a chance to do it over. Josh Harris, you get your quarterback, and then also Magic Johnson being on there. And maybe it's just a better situation. I think he's looking at the brand. I think it's a good decision for him.
Yeah, and Washington's a team that potentially could be on the rise here in that NFC East. Somebody new wins that every year. How about this? Go ahead.
He's also looking at those other 3 coaches in the AFC West.
Right.
I don't want to go against Sean Payton, Jim Harbaugh, and Andy Reid.
My goodness. Yeah. The Raiders instead settle on Luke Getsy as offensive coordinator, former Bears offensive coordinator. This is a little bit curious to me. I don't think Getsy has had any success in Chicago.
Yeah, he didn't have any success, and he had a quarterback, and Justin Fields, which we believe could be a decent quarterback in the NFL. Raiders don't have anybody, so I don't know what that's going to be about. Wouldn't have been my first choice for offensive coordinator after what he did in Chicago. Didn't look good.
I want to thank Josh Horton, who's gifted 5 memberships in the WoodwardSports.com chat as well, so thank you for that. The Chargers, speaking of offensive coordinators, Jim Harbaugh goes back to a guy he's familiar with, Greg Roman. He is the new offensive coordinator in L.A. for the Chargers, Bray.
Was my offensive coordinator in 2011 with the San Francisco 49ers. I think you look back now at how this season kind of played out for the Baltimore Ravens. It didn't see Tom Monken in the playoffs. Didn't seem like it was Greg Roman's fault, and that's what it looks like. Jim Harbaugh is going with a guy which he knows, a guy which he's had much success with. Greg Roman's had tremendous success in this NFL, so you want to get a guy like Justin Herbert going. This guy does well with quarterbacks, especially young quarterbacks. Colin Kaepernick he worked with, and then he also worked with Lamar Jackson. Now he gets a chance to work with Justin Herbert.
Hey, a little bit of a surprise, too. Jay Harbaugh. Did you see what happened with him today?
I did.
Jay Harbaugh says, "No thanks, Dad." He is going to join Mike Macdonald as the new special teams coach in Seattle. So Mike Macdonald and Jay Harbaugh on the same staff for Michigan in 2021. So Jay will spread his wings a little bit, and he will go to join Macdonald in Seattle. I think this is a good move for Jay Harbaugh.
It's good. Sometimes you need to cut your teeth away from your parents. Kyle Shanahan needs to go away from Mike Shanahan. You got to cut your teeth away from your parents. And then also, this is a chance for him to build with Mike Macdonald, because Mike Macdonald's a young coach.
Yep.
So now he builds under Mike Macdonald, builds some friendship, and then gives himself a chance to maybe be a head coach at some point in this NFL journey.
And Bill Belichick's son, Stephen Belichick.
To Michigan.
He's at Washington.
Washington
now. He's the defensive coordinator at Washington. So
it's going to be interesting.
Speaking about...
that's his dad ain't getting the job.
Right,
That's
absolutely.
his dad ain't getting the job.
Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski, he had some interesting things to say about letting Bill Callahan go to the Titans. Remember, Bill Callahan's son is the new head coach of the Tennessee Titans. Titans call up the Browns, where Bill Callahan was on the staff, and they just let him go for what a class move by the Cleveland Browns organization. And the amount of times you could hear that statement, I'm not sure you have ever heard that before.
Yeah, take it from me. I got experience. You won't hear that story again.
But here's Kevin Stefanski on letting Bill Callahan go to the Titans.
Bill Callahan, very unique situation there to go work for Brian, not with Brian. He's going to work for Brian. I can't wait for Brian to boss him around. The dream of every kid is to boss their parents around. So happy for those guys. Again, I think organizationally we realize that's a unique situation and did not want to stand in the way of that. And so excited for certainly Brian and Bill down there.
I think you get a lot of goodwill if you're the Cleveland Browns for doing that.
A lot of goodwill, man. A lot of goodwill for Cleveland Browns allowing a coach off your staff to go coach or coach with his son. The good thing too for Brian Callahan is like you bring a wealth of knowledge. Not only is he one of the best offensive line coaches of all time, he's a good offensive mind. He's a sharp guy, and he's been a head coach. Remember, he took that Raiders team to the Super Bowl that eventually lost to who the hell did they lose? Oh, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But he did take a team to the Super Bowl. So to have not only that guy be your father on staff, I think this is tremendous to try to help him in his first year as a head coach.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Then we all know that the Detroit Lions are getting new uniforms. What those uniforms are, we don't know. But the Lions are one of 5 teams that appear to be getting new uniforms this year. The Broncos.
These are the 3 that make sense. The Broncos uniforms are beautiful, but you got to think, Ryan. 1996 is when they unveiled those new uniforms, and they took the lead by storm. That's 20 years ago almost.
Now the Titans, Seahawks, Texans, Lions, and Broncos. The Titans, are they going to go back to some sort of, or is the Houston Texans? Who gets the oil derrick? That's coming back somewhere.
Well, the oil derrick is owned by the Titans owner. She's the daughter of the original owner in Houston. So the oil derrick is owned by the Titans. So Texans can't use it even if they wanted to, because the Titans owner owns the oil derrick. That's why they do those.
It's above the T there too in Titans, if you notice that.
100%, and that's why they do that 1 or 2 games a year where they'll wear the oil derrick. So that belongs to Tennessee, not Texans. Seattle. I think Seattle, even though it seems like they just got those, they got them in 2011. So this is.
I think Seattle has some of the coolest new uniforms ever. That neon green and deep dark blue.
Seattle for a second became kind of like the Oregon
Ducks.
They became like the Oregon in the NFL. Yeah, 100%.
And I'm curious. So one of these 5 teams is going to win the Super Bowl next year. Is that what I'm understanding?
When you change your uniform, you win it?
When you change your uniform, you win the Super Bowl. It's just go back through history.
Yeah, you're right. The Bucks did it.
The Broncos
did it. Seahawks did it.
Seahawks did it.
Who else is on
Patriots.
Patriots did do it. Because they changed their year from when they got popped in 97, 98 by Brett Favre. Yeah. You got some history in there.
One of those 5 teams will win the Super Bowl.
The
we
Rams.
think it's the Lions. The Rams
changed their uniform when they went to L.A.
So
they changed them.
It's just what it is.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see if the Lions unveil that draft weekend or if that's something they'll just save for more publicity throughout the.
Right. I mean, why wouldn't you do a draft weekend though?
Yeah.
Like draft weekend seems like the best time at all to do it. You have the stage up there. You can have a model it. I think draft weekend is a good time to kind of launch that.
Exactly. Which team will win the Super Bowl first, Braylon Edwards? That is the question that they are asking on Pro Football Focus. Here it is. The Bills, Bengals, is that the Browns?
It is the Browns.
Lions, Vikings, Bolts, Jags, and Titans. Okay, so man,
I only think, and this is just my estimation. I only think there are 1, 2, 3. I only think there are 3 real contenders.
Yeah, I'd say 4, because I'm going to add Buffalo in there too.
No, they're done.
Okay, then Buffalo's
done.
Lions, Bengals, Bolts.
Yep. That's exactly what I had. Lions, Bengals, Bolts. I left out Jaguars. I left out the Browns. I left out the Vikings. And then I know that the Texans are good. I see them as a good team in the NFL for a couple years to come. I don't see them as a necessary contender Charger. But the Bengals, the Chargers now with Harbaugh, and then the Lions we saw where they got to this year. I think those are your 3.
All right. I'm going to go with the Lions. They're going to win it first.
I am going to second you, but that guy that took over in L.A., he's known to bring championships now.
Yeah, no
One
doubt.
of the 2, Bolts or the Lions.
Oh, my goodness. Guys, we'll be back to wrap it up next. But first, a message from Big Boy.
Where's Maz?
A Big Boy, but wintertime is always better with comfort foods from Big Boy. Try the veal parmesan or the Southern Comfort chicken bowl. Or what about breakfast? They got the stuffed potato pancakes back, the classic lumberjack, or the Santa Fe Garde. Also the new apple pie hotcakes that are too good to miss out on. Top it all off with the new gingerbread shake for dessert. Stuff that you cannot miss out on. So stop by your local Big Boy today.
Savor the heart of home at Big Boy with our all-new down-home comfort dishes. Feast on home-style goodness with our Southern Comfort Chicken Bowl, veal parmigiana, and apple pie hotcakes. The down-home delight doesn't stop there. Potato pancakes are back. Dive into the richness of our perfectly crafted potatoes with our classic potato pancakes and our stuffed potato pancakes. Top off your meal with our new gingerbread shake, a seamless blend of creamy vanilla and sweet gingerbread flavors. Nothing beats the comforting taste of down-home cooking. Enjoy every bite, only at Big Boy.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. That's right, college basketball's most elite event. You and your 5 best friends just get to any Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically register to win the trip of your dreams. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome. Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists and register for a once-in-a-lifetime.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed-out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
R.I.P. to the same old Lions. Big thanks to Sheila, Brad, and Dan for putting them to rest. And guess what else has found the grave? That same old rock, paper, scissors. Jack Labrador has revolutionized their entire game with this 2 new symbols and a franchise-changing 3-point play. Discover the action at jacklabrador.gg now and find out why. Once you go Jack, you will never go back.
Welcome back.
Jack.
Labrador.
Come back no more.
That's right. Guys, having a lot of fun here today.
Great show, by the way.
I think
a lot
this
of fun.
Hey, man. I think this is pretty darn good today. Bray, no surprise as well that Eric Bieniemy has not been retained.
Yeah.
By the new head coach of the Washington Commanders, Dan Quinn. Bieniemy out. Will he get another coordinator job? What is the latest with Bieniemy? Because I'll tell you, this was a guy that was here, rumored to be a head coach each and every year in the league, and now he's a guy looking for a home as an assistant coach, I think.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, Eric Bieniemy at one point, you said here, man, he was even higher. It was like he just kept rising, and slowly but surely, when he's not getting jobs after season with the Chiefs, year after year, starts going down. And then he takes a lateral move, which you called out last year. I said maybe this is his chance to take over once Rivera got fired, because we knew that would happen. But that did not take place as well. Eric Bieniemy, he might be on the outs, man. He had a little track record before they hired him. That was one of the things when you dig into his past. And maybe this is just something that people don't want to be a part of. I hope that maybe he can get back to the Chiefs at some point. Yeah.
Well, that's what happens, right? It's successful organizations. It's like every time Josh McDaniels loses a job, you know where he goes?
Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick. That's just the way it is. That's a great suggestion by you. I guarantee you he'll end up back with the Chiefs. Maybe if it's not offensive coordinator, maybe it's some sort of role.
Offensive assistant.
Yeah,
They'll find a way to put some
doubt.
ducats in his pocket. Because one thing he's really good for the sideline morale of that Chiefs team. So maybe having him back. I mean, they may not need him because they're back in the Super Bowl, but at the same time, they bring him back, like you said.
No doubt. Guys, Red Wings don't play again for another 5 days. They've got this long All-Star break, man. We don't talk much hockey on the show, but I'll tell you, that was I don't know if you had an opportunity to look at some of the All-Star contests and games that were played over the weekend. It was pretty fun stuff. And the Red Wings, here we go, for the first time in a long time, Braylon, sit at the All-Star break with absolutely an opportunity to make the postseason and make the playoffs. I think that's really important for these guys to get in this year.
NHL All-Star Weekend is one of my favorite weekends in terms of the actual sports, the Big Four. I like the way they put it on. I didn't follow it this past weekend because I was hooked on Yellowstone, but it's a lot of fun. The one in Vegas last year when they were slap-shotting from one over the pond over at the what hotel was it? It's going to come to me. Anyway, it does Mandalay Bay, I think. But anyway, love it. I'm glad they're in the space they're in. We talked about these 4 teams, and we asked before the season started, which teams did you believe in were going to get to the championship or get to the playoffs first? Lions were number 1. And you know who was number 2? It was the Red Wings. And this year, they seem like they're going to prove us to be right with the Tigers in 3rd and the Pistons in 4th. So shout out to the Red Wings. You got Trust the Eyes are playing, as D-Mac always says.
Pistons lose to the Magic yesterday afternoon at LCA, 111-99. Detroit 6-42 on the year. But aside from this,
it sounds crazy when you say it out loud.
Right, 6. It's unbelievable. Yeah. Also sounds crazy to say that the Pistons lost an icon. Earl the Twirl Cureton passed away at 66 years old.
That's young,
I cannot believe this. He was just at Fox 2 15 days ago. Had an opportunity to talk to him about his new book, talking about reaching your dreams, and anybody could reach their dreams. He didn't want it to be a book about basketball, but he wanted it to be about kids, saying, doesn't matter what neighborhood you come from, doesn't matter who your parents are, you can make it. And just a giant in our area, man. If they were opening up a basketball court in the city, he was there. If they were opening up a computer room in the city, he was there. Always with a smile. Huge loss to the community, Earl Cureton.
Giant, literally and figuratively, man. You're talking about a guy that was always there. And he's an individual that I look to sometimes and say, maybe I'm not doing enough. Maybe I'm not going to enough events. Maybe I'm not showing up enough for Detroit. Because that's the guy he was. Every time you go to a Pistons game, suited up, speak to you. Hey, man, how's your mom doing? How's Big Stan doing? He was always this way. Jalen's golf outing, the NFL alumni golf outing. You see him everywhere around the city. And he's just one of those guys, when you see him, things get good. Like, you see him and you feel good about yourself. So, man, love and peace to his family. He was a good one, man. He was a good one.
I got goosebumps as you were saying that because, Earl Cureton portrayed himself as the utmost professional as well.
He was.
Always dressed in a suit.
No
matter where he was, he was portraying success, excellence.
Class personified.
Class personified, no doubt about it, Braylon. Just an incredible treasure for our area, and Detroit shares in the loss that Earl Cureton. My goodness. And as you said, Braylon, thoughts and all the prayers in the world for his family as they grieve his loss. Today, yesterday, and forever, really. That's a whole, this area will not be able to recover. I mean, my goodness, Earl Cureton. What can you say about that guy?
Legend.
The best.
Yeah, he was, man, it's crazy.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here today. Maz will be back tomorrow. Kenny, great job in there today, my friend. Such a pleasure to be joined by you as well.
I appreciate it.
JB is, I don't even know what to say about JB.
He's in a different booth today. That's all you gotta say.
JB is everything for us here at Woodward Sports. So thank you, JB. Braylon, get us out of here, my friend.
We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Look, man, we know it's the off season, so it's not about games and things like that, but we're going to talk about where the Lions should go, what the Lions should do. We're going to do Brad Holmes' job for him, although he does it so well, Paul. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Like you said, for Kenny, my man JB, Maz, we'll see you tomorrow. For my brother from another mother, Ryan Ermanni. We are Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. See you guys tomorrow.